The Staying Up All Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The warm fire, the comfortable chairs, the merry companions, the stroke of 12, the wild suggestion, the good sports, the man who hasn't slept for weeks, the people who have done it before, the long anecdotes, the best-looking girl yawns, the forced raillery, the stroke of 1, the best-looking girl goes to bed, the stroke of 2, the empty pantry, the lack of firewood, the second best-looking girl goes to bed, the weather-beaten ones who don't, the stroke of 4, the dozing off, the amateur, life of the party, the burglar scare, the scornful cat, the trying to impress the milkman, the scorn of the milkman, the lunatic feeling, the chilly sun, the stroke of 6, the walk in the garden, the sneezing, the early risers, the volley of wit at you, the feeble comeback, the tasteless breakfast, the miserable day, 8 p.m. between the sheets. Okay, this is a poem by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is probably from the 1930s, something like that. Let's see, it's describing staying up all night. It's describing an informal party where they're a group of friends, and it just goes through the things that happen. So, the warm fire. This puts us in the situation. They're a group of friends sitting in front of a warm fire, and they're sitting in comfortable chairs. The merry companions. Okay, so the stroke of 12. So here we've got, he's setting the scene. There's a warm fire, people who know each other well sitting in comfortable chairs, and it's midnight. And then we have the things that happen. So the wild suggestion. Somebody makes a wild suggestion. Imagine we were all birds. The good sports. So a good sport is somebody who takes things well, who doesn't mind people joking about them or playing tricks on them. The man who hasn't slept for weeks. So somebody's saying, I never sleep, I haven't slept for weeks. The people who have done it before. I remember when I stayed up all night last year, and the long anecdotes. So somebody tells a long story about something happened. The best looking girl yawns. She yawns, she's tired. The forced raillery. Okay, raillery is banter, chatter, happy chatter between people. So, but it's a bit forced. So, they are whiling away the hours. They're letting the time go, and they feel forced to make jokes about each other. The stroke of 1. Dong. The best-looking girl goes to bed. It's always the prettiest ones that disappear. The stroke of 2. Bong, bong. The empty pantry. So the pantry's the place where you keep the food. So I think maybe the people are starting to feel hungry, or maybe if we eat something it would use up some of the time, but there's nothing in the pantry to eat. The lack of firewood. So I think the fire's starting to go out, and maybe they're starting to feel a little bit cold. The second best looking girl goes to bed. So, yeah, it's always the pretty ones that disappear. The weather-beaten ones who don't. So, this is talking about the less good-looking girls who don't go to bed. Yeah, they're weather-beaten, beaten by the weather. So this is a metaphor, weather beaten, saying they're less pretty. Their features are are as if they've been attacked or degraded by the weather. The stroke of 4, dong 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 dong. The dozing off, so you feel sleepy and you start to doze off a little. The amateur life of the party, so somebody starts telling jokes or acting or something like that to be the life of the party, but they're very amateur. The burglar scare. What was that noise? Is that a burglar? The scornful cat. The cat comes in. What are you all doing here? It's the middle of the night. Trying to impress the milkman, so they're probably all a bit drunk, and the milkman's come. This is very early in the morning. And the scorn of the milkman, you're all drunk, stop being so silly. The lunatic feeling, you feel like you're a bit crazy. The chilly sun, so the sun is starting to rise, but it's still cold. The stroke of 6 a.m. The walk in the garden, so you go for a walk in the garden. The sneezing, I have a feeling this is about hay fever, so you go for a walk in the garden and the sun's coming up, 6 o'clock, this could be spring, so maybe it's the pollen that's giving you allergy. The early risers, the people who get up early. The volley of wit at you, the feeble comeback. So, the volley of wit at you, this is saying that the early risers start to make jokes about you. Yeah, cool, you look terrible, you've had a really hard night. Yeah, and the feeble comeback, you answer this volley of wit with a reply or a riposte, but it's not very good because your mind is not very clear. Here, a volley, I think a volley of shots is where a group of soldiers all fire at the same time. So lots of people making funny jokes about you. The tasteless breakfast. Yeah, by breakfast time you're not feeling so good. And the miserable day. Yeah, the day that seems to go on. 8 p.m. between the sheets and go to bed early. So I think this is a great description of staying up all night. I quite like it. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. The Staying Up All Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald.